I think it's funny sometimes that, you know, I go to meetings or I'll get involved in something that a certification or something new to add to my, portfolio. And I'll get a young agent that'll say, why are you still doing training? Why are you still coming to classes? And I tell them, well, because I don't ever not want to be coachable. Learning is important. They say that you learn something new every day, and I believe that's the truth. And I believe that if you're not continuing your education, you're making a mistake. I believe that if you're not learning, you're not going to grow. And if you're not going to grow, your client base isn't going to grow. Your sales force isn't going to grow. Your maturity level will stay the same. Always be learning. Always be training. One of the things I like about learning is sometimes I get to do the teaching. Sometimes I get to do the class. I do one every single week. It's called The Hour with Liam, and I get to share and I get to teach. And I remember one of the agents sent me a real nice note and said, I learn something every single time I make your meetings. I learn something new. I learned something I didn't think about. I learned a different twist. And that's why it's important to continue to learn. No, never not be coachable. I've been in rooms where I've seen some of the greatest agents of all time. Tommy Hagner is a great guy. And Tommy's a down-to-earth fella. And Tommy's always learning. Tommy does a lot of teaching. And Tommy would tell you that teaching is learning. I've learned more when I've taught a class sometimes than I've given a class than I've taken, right? When I've given and taught a class, I've learned a lot more than sometimes being a student. You ought to volunteer to teach a subject on what you do, and you'd be amazed at the powerful learning that you get out of it. Teaching sometimes works full circle, yes?